Hey y'all, welcome to Freedom Makers. I'm Amanda, and today I'm sitting in front of the cane syrup mill, dreaming of autumn. It is so hot here. I grew up coming to Mississippi, southern Mississippi, all of my life in the summertime, so this is familiar to me. I don't like it, but it is something that I am willing to bear because I do love this area in general. So it is hot. I'm sitting here thinking about how lovely it's going to be in October when we're processing cane syrup from the sugar cane and making that and putting it in jars. We love to use that all winter long, and so I'm very much looking forward to that. As I'm sitting here, I am thinking about a conversation I had with my grandmother a few days ago. Sunshine and I go and visit her down in Biloxi area every couple days, really. It's at least once a week. Since we've been here, we stay a few nights with her and help her with some different things. She is going to be 81 next month, and so we're really excited about that. We plan on making as many treasured memories we can with her because there's never enough time with those that you love. And as she ages, I just want to make sure that my daughter has an opportunity to know her like I have known her. She has been a huge example in my life. Many of the things I love came from her. I love to can and garden and see flowers grow. And all the things that she loves, I enjoy as well. And so for my daughter to have the opportunity to know her very well and have a close relationship with her is very important to me. So we've been doing that, and when I was there last, we were talking about how things have changed over the course of her life. She'll be 81, and she was talking about how things used to be when she was a little girl, the things that they used to create, her sister and her. They had a very large family, I think 13 siblings. I mean, it was a huge number. I think it was 13. I don't know them all, honestly. But she had one sister in particular that was very close in age, and they were very, very close. And she remembers them taking like pine cones and herbs and just leaves and different things and creating like their own storefront and just playing, making mud pies, things that, you know, kids used to do before we had all this technology and junk. And she was telling me how they would switch it up, and the next day it would be a cafe, and they'd use all the things they'd gathered the day before, and they'd make like soup or something. And she said it was a blast, and she thought it was a shame that children don't do that anymore. And as the conversation progressed, we spoke of things like feminism and how that's ruined our country. I used to be a feminist. I used to think I was too good to need a man. I no longer feel that way, though I am single. But I used to be very rigid in that thought process, and had some very different beliefs than I have now. A lot of that I think stemmed from going to the college I went to. Now I'm kind of back to my roots in a lot of ways, not just geographically, but also in the way I think. And it's beautiful to just realize that there is a heritage to be had of wisdom, and not just from a location or maybe a trade or anything like that. It's also the things that can be passed down. And I find it very sad that a lot of people my age don't take the time to sit and listen, because there's a lot to be learned from older people. And just hearing my grandmother's stories, we call her Franny. My oldest cousin couldn't say Granny, and so she became Franny. So my Franny, she has taught me so much in just telling me stories and teaching me about just different lessons she's learned in her life and experiences she's had. And so it's just been a very big blessing to be down here in this area. In yesterday's video, you guys saw me do that tour. It's definitely not the place we want to be, because there were a lot of issues with like security. It was kind of in a fork in the road. There were the power lines. That's a huge issue. But this is the area I want to be in. I love being close to her, and so it's been beautiful. We were also talking about changes in technology and whether they were for the good or for bad, and I have very mixed feelings about that. It has helped in the medical field somewhat. I still feel like we need to go back to more traditional or holistic practices than are currently being used. Everything's about money right now. Everything seems to stem from the need to make another dollar, regardless of the human condition. That to me is very sad. I have been at the mercy of the medical field for a very long time. And I just recently had surgery. You guys had seen where I guess it's been 10 weeks I think, since I had a hysterectomy due to severe endometriosis. And so I have had to deal with the medical field off and on for a very long time. I was diagnosed when I was 19. I'm now 29 and finally got that taken care of. I will probably do a video in the near future about that experience and since, because a lot of other women have reached out and talked about their need for some kind of relief because they have the same condition. Endometriosis affects a lot of women and it's very serious, and so I'll probably do that in another video because I don't want to get too far off track, but it's just very interesting to think about how life has changed in the last 80 years. But it also makes me wonder, what is life going to be like in another 30, in another 10? When my little girl is my age, what's the world going to look like? And that makes me kind of nervous because I don't know that I think this is going to be a good place. This world seems to be getting worse instead of better. There are many who believe that the world is getting better, and I very, very much so disagree with that. I think simple is better. I think that God designed us to work in the earth. He didn't design us to go to a coffee shop. Otherwise, in Eden, there would have been one. That's just my thought on it. But in getting back to my roots and getting back to the earth, I feel more strongly than ever that this is how God intended life to be. It's a beautiful life. It's beautiful to put your hands in soil, grow something, and eat it. That is life. That is the essence of life. And my grandmother was talking about when she was growing up, that's what they had. That's how they ate. She came from a very poor family, and they had a lot of kids. They had a lot of mouths to feed. Her dad worked in the shipyard, and her mom stayed home, as was traditional in that day. And she took care of the house and the garden and put up food as much as they could. And they did can back then. She remembers helping her mom fill jars, and she continued that tradition when she had her own family, and that's how she fed her children. She had 6 kids. My mom is the second to youngest, and she remembers growing up, and they had a huge garden. They had a dairy cow, and that's how they ate off the land, and that's how they survived winter. She didn't go to the grocery store. She made like $3 an hour, but that was way later. She started out making just cents an hour when my mama was little. And she worked up to that, but it was very hard. Her husband was not a very good man from what I hear. I never met him. He's long gone now. But she remarried when she was in her 50s, I believe, to my papa. And he's the only grandfather I ever knew. You guys may have seen where I've done some different videos about him and his life, and I can list some of those in the cards, but he was a remarkable man. I loved my papa, and he taught me a lot of amazing lessons too. So I definitely feel like I wouldn't be the person I am today if I had not known my grandparents. My dad's mom is amazing as well. She was also a single mom, and raised 6 kids as well. So she has a great story too. Someday I hope to share that as well. But these people, the older people in my life, are the people who have taught me the most. And so I would urge you, if you are my age or younger, or even if you're older, there's always someone that you can learn from. And there's so much wisdom to be gleaned from these people because, gosh, in their stories, I have learned so much just listening. So if you don't have someone in your life that can share those stories with you, go somewhere where old people are. We have homes here in America where there are older people that would love to sit and chat with you, and that don't have anybody coming to see them. So I would urge you to reach out to someone, because those people are available, but not forever. Eventually we'll be those people, and if we don't gather that information now and store that within us to share to future generations, it'll be lost. And I feel like there has been so much lost already. There is so much wisdom that we'll never get to hear about, that we'll never get to gain in that capacity. We'll have to learn by trial and error. There are so many things about food storage that I wish I had had a great-great-great-grandmother to talk to and learn some of this stuff, or that those things had been passed down in a better way, because there's a lot of questions right now as our climate is changing, as food is not as readily available as it was even just a year ago. We're seeing a decline in crop production at the moment, and there are a lot of things that I think I would have been able to learn had that information been passed down that would help me now. And it's a darn shame. It's a darn shame that it's not available. I have to search that out, and there are things I'm trying to do by experimentation and trial and error to learn what I need to know. So my thought is that as I am learning to handle these changes that are happening, I can pass that on to my child and her children, should she have any, and then maybe in our line it won't all be lost. So it seems like a shame, and I think if more people my age would sit and listen and just shut your mouth and turn off your phone and listen, this world would be such a much better place. A better place for our kids. So anyway, I don't know. I was just sitting here dreaming about autumn and thinking, and I thought I'd share some of that with you guys. I hope that you have an awesome day. I hope you're staying cool. I'm about to go in the house because it's scorching here. I'm just sitting and I'm sweating. But there's plenty to do in the house as well. There's garlic to shell or peel, sorry, and put in the dehydrator. There's still potatoes to be canned, lunch to be made. There's a lot to do inside, so I'm going to go in there and be productive, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing some time with me. If you have someone that has shared some information with you or wisdom with you as you grew up, I'd like to hear about them too. Feel free to talk to me in the comments and just list that for others to see. And if you have a little bit of wisdom that you would like to share with others, feel free to post that in the comments as well. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.